afternoon, Mr. John. It was nice to see you again today.
Marketplace, control sales. Even if you do, you just might want to know.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Rashid. It's good to have you here.
So you better rearrange your philosophy and begin to better my
Okay, it's time. So allow me pause this music so that we can. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to have you all. In fact, I'm honored to have you here today because if you're not here, I'll just be alone and speaking to myself. So I appreciate your presence here today, and it's a pleasure for me to be here. Yesterday we started with the pre-webinar, and the reason for that was because we know Microsoft Innovative Educators and with some of the concepts that the rest of us are already familiar with, because one of the criteria to becoming Microsoft Innovative Educator Experts. So now that we're on the same page, we can now start talking about being a Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert. All right, I know, right? I'm going to try switching between the two options that I have from time to time. So please just bear with me. Okay, so I don't want to waste time, and I don't plan that we exceed 1 hour in this session. So I'm just going to start right away. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to start with a quick introduction for the benefit of those that are meeting me for the first time. My name is Victoria Ogunlade Ajishe, also known as the teacher called Millionaire. I'm a teacher, an educational consultant, a curriculum developer, and a STEAM integration specialist who has facilitated a number of CPDs for educators and worked with organizations on CSR projects to train close to 1,000 educators on the importance of STEAM and how it can be integrated to lessons to improve learning and ultimately raise students who are fit for the 21st century. I have a lot of experience as an innovative educator with the ability to explore diverse technology for teaching and learning. And this has led to my many awards and certifications, notable among which is this MIEE that we are all working towards. All right, so and this is as a result of my contributions to innovative teaching and learning of children and educators alike. So aside being a teacher, I'm a mompreneur and also a personal or teacher finance coach. My love for a healthy financial well-being, along with my wealth of experience as a financial advisor, prior to my being a teacher, has endeared me towards sharing this knowledge with teachers, especially. So I pursue this mission through various avenues, such as trainings on personal development hangouts for professionals from all walks of life. And recently, I started focusing on teacher finance. Okay, so because of my passion for educators, I've begun this new feat, talking about teacher finance and focusing on it. Okay, so I believe that teachers are very important assets all over the world, and hence they deserve to earn so well to complement their efforts. So I've created resources such as the Entrepreneur Personality Quiz, the Entrepreneur Manual, and the Entrepreneur Clarity of Purpose Workbook that serves as practical guide and prepares educators towards their journey to financial success, just like I've achieved for myself. So I am highly committed to impacting others and contributing my best to make the world a better place. I'm interested in education, in training, in finance management, open teacher training opportunities, and continuous professional development. Also, teacher finance and wealth creation. So there you go. That is who I am. And now that you know who I am, I'd like you to do a quick introduction of who you are and where you are joining us from. So an example will be, my name is Victoria and I'm joining from Lagos. So let's do that quickly in 60 seconds, please.
All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I am Coach Rashid Alakunle, joining from Lagos. I'm happy to be here to learn.
Coach Rashid. So someone was asking what is STEAM. So STEAM is science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths. Okay, and there's a common misconception of what STEAM is. Most people that practice STEAM actually practice the wrong thing, but most people do not know. But that's not the topic today, so we're not going to dwell on that. I'm still waiting for more introduction before we proceed. So I'm putting mine right away, and I'm expecting more people to introduce themselves. So yeah.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Esther Dola David from Lagos.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us. Can we have 2 more people before we proceed?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I feel like a radio presenter this afternoon. Good afternoon. Now, what's your name and where are you joining us from?
Good afternoon, Coach Veekey. My name is Blessing. My name is Blessing Nwankwo. I'm joining in from Lagos.
Wow, nice to have you here. Welcome. It's Blessing Nwankwo. And I see someone here. She says, "Hi everyone, my name is Chiaka and I'm joining in from Abuja." Wow, we have someone from Abuja here today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so we are not going to wait.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
This is Olaide Akirili.
Okay, where are you joining
It's
us
a pleasure
from?
to be here. From Lagos. From Lagos.
From
Good to be
Lagos.
here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining in. Okay, so let's just move on to the topic of today. So it is all about becoming a Microsoft Innovative Educator. Perchance you are not yet a Microsoft Innovative Educator and you missed yesterday's session. The recording is in the WhatsApp group, so you can easily just watch it and get the certificates that people got yesterday, because it's one of the criteria, but it's the very first criteria that you need to fulfill before you can become a Microsoft Innovative Educator. So I believe that you can see my screen. Let's talk about becoming a Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert. I think someone needs to mute their mic. Okay, so about this program. This was gotten from the Microsoft site, and it says, "Are you an educator? An educator can be a classroom teacher, a school leader, or a professional learning specialist or trainer, an instructional aide, a curriculum specialist, anyone that has something to take knowledge from someone." And like the counselor that joined us was asking if training was relevant to as a counselor as well. So if you're striving to find new ways to engage your students or your learners, and you want to connect with a global professional learning community of other educators just like you, we are constantly boundaries of what classroom looks and feel like, then you are the kind of people that Microsoft is looking for to be a part of the Microsoft Innovative Expert community. Microsoft is a thriving community of passionate educators, okay, who are learning, growing, and working together to change students' lives and build. Sorry, I'm trying to admit people. Okay, so if you are someone that is constantly looking forward to becoming more, looking to connect with global people, global educators just like yourself, all right, you are the kind of person that they are looking to be a part of this Microsoft Innovative Expert. If you are a self-driven person, you are open to continuous professional development, you are open to learning, you are open to training others, sharing the knowledge that you've gotten with other people, You are the kind of people that they are looking for. If you are resourceful and entrepreneurial, all right, a change agent, you work towards achieving excellence in education using Microsoft, excuse me, Microsoft tools with other innovative teaching practices. You are the kind of people that they are looking forward to join the Microsoft Innovative Educator Experts, the community. Now, this community is only open to those that accept, well, it's open to everyone. Everyone is allowed to nominate themselves. But based on the submissions that you have, they are going to now accept you if you qualify to be a part of the expert community. Now, for this year, the self-nomination process is opened. It's opened on May 15th, and it's going to be opened up until the 7th of July. It's going to open up until the 7th of July. All right. So now these are the processes, the things that you should have before you're able to apply for self-nomination. Be sure that you have joined the Microsoft Learn. That was why we did yesterday's class, so that when we're talking about Microsoft Learn today, it's not strange to people. So yesterday, we introduced Microsoft Learn to those that were new to it. They've created their profiles in it. Now you need to download your transcript. So all of those that you've learned before, you will see a link to download your transcripts there. You are going to download the transcript as part of the nomination process. You also ensure that you have successfully completed 2 modules of the Microsoft Learn. So that was the essence of the achievement codes that I shared yesterday. One was for a module, the other one was for a learning part. I'm going to be sharing another one at the end of this lesson so that it can make come up to speed with the number of achievements that you should have to qualify for the Microsoft Innovative Expert. Now, to prepare for self-nominations, you will have to start collecting evidence and working through some questions. I'm going to share those questions shortly. Now, when you look at those questions, that's one good thing about it. So they give you the kind of questions that they expect you to answer ahead of time so that you can plan your answers. All right? You know what to, you have enough time to look through it and plan your answers. If you don't have any evidences now, if you don't have any evidences of the practices that you are doing to teach your learners, you can start gathering it before the deadline. The deadline is still July 7th. All right. So I'm going to share that with you. Now, MIEE experts are expected to be very good at least 2 of our core tools like Teams, OneNote, Forms, Ease, I think I've forgotten what E is, then Flipgrid, okay? And they are expected to understand and demonstrate how to use this to support learning, teaching and learning. So I'm going to share let me share the website where you're going to do your self-nomination. I'm going to drop the link to this website in the WhatsApp group so that everyone can easily access it. Okay, so this is it. This is the link here. The first part, this beginning part, is for those who are already MIEE experts and then they want to retain the status. Then this part here is for those who are new to it. Okay, so you see here who should fill out the self-nomination form: educators. And the term educators refers to classroom teachers, school leaders, professional learning specialists, instructional assistants, trainers, or anyone who supports teaching and learning and wants to grow their skill and support others. Now, notice, see the part written in red. MIEE expert self-nomination window is open from May 15th to July 7th for the 2022/2023 cohorts. An announcement will go out in August. That is, announcement of those who are selected will go out in August. And like we've read before, these are the kind of people that they are looking for. People who have adopted current research-based teaching and learning practices, people that take risk and strive to improve their pedagogy to integrate technology tools as that improve students' outcomes, people that model that failure is an opportunity to reflect and learn, as well as resiliency, people that see the MIE expert community as a valuable professional learning community that helps them continue to improve their own practice, people that are seen as a leader in their school and the school system, people that provide coaching and mentoring to other teachers and support their growth, people that partner with principals and school leaders in all schools or system transformation, people that are comfortable presenting in front of other educators or leaders and sharing their stories of growth and learning. So you begin to think about this, am I this person? People that look for ways to give back to the teaching profession. So MIE experts, they always get back what they put into the program. For example, I'm an MIE expert. I'm taking my time now. I'm doing this free of charge. I'm, teaching other people the things that I've learned. I'm also guiding other people to become like I am, become an MIE expert like me. And that is because if I tell you the benefits and the things that I've gained being a part of this community in this past 1 year, in fact, it is a whole lot. It's a whole lot. So whatever I'm giving here, you can't compare it to what I have gotten. So you would always get back far more than whatever it is that you give to that. For example, if you look at the Microsoft Learn, you can't even exhaust the number of trainings that you need to do. There's a lot. And then now think about when you are in a community with teachers from all over the world. You are going to learn a lot from them. You learn a lot of tools, a lot of tech tools, a lot of practices that you might not have known before. So it's a very great opportunity. If you click on this link, you'll see the list of the current MIE experts. When you have time, check it. My name is also there. So the term educator talked about this. Now, before you start your nomination, please download these Word documents. Please download these Word documents and use it to carefully plan your responses. I'm going to do to project the documents now, but we'll have access to it. I'll share it in the class. I'll even give you this link so that you can just go there by yourself and then download it directly onto your device. Read carefully about how the two-phase nomination process, but the two-phase nomination process. Read carefully about how it works and give yourself enough time to resubmit if your nomination doesn't pass the first phase. Okay. So the phase 1 is from May 15th to July 7th. That is where nominations are opened, and then it will be auto-scored. So it's automatically scored. July 7th is the submission or resubmission. So if you have submitted prior to July 7th and then you didn't pass, you have up to that July 7th to resubmit. After July 7th, they won't receive any other submission. Then in the week of August 22nd, that is the week where 22nd of August, that is when emails will be sent out to everyone that's been accepted or declined from the program. Okay, so this part is for current MIE school, and this is for Microsoft Showcase School. For you to be a Microsoft Showcase School, you must have a certain number of Microsoft Innovative Educator experts in your school. So, but because this is for Microsoft Innovative Experts, I'm going to concentrate on that. So let me just share the Word document, the questions that are required of you. Excuse me. The questions that are required for you to fill. So this is how it is. Below are the questions that you will be asked during the nomination process. They are broken into 3 sections, but all are done at the same time. Announcement will be made the week of August 15, 2022 Pacific time. Definitions: an educator. I've already explained who the educator is. The next one is learner. So you see learner, they're asking you for learners. The term means refers to anyone who is receiving instruction from you. So if you don't teach in a school environment, but you have those that you teach, those people are the learners. those people that you teach are, sorry, pardon. Okay, so learner refers to anyone who is receiving instruction from you. And examples are adults, students in the classroom, colleagues that you work with, or that you are training. Now, this is a hint. The hint is this. It is perfectly okay to work with other colleagues as you prepare your nomination. Okay, so it doesn't have to be what you do with children in the classroom. For phase 2 questions, use the resources to find the answer for you nominate yourself. So you see, a very good part of it. Make it fun and do it with some of your colleagues. I don't know if you remember, by the time most of you joined newly, I shared something to you and I said that it is even more fun when you do it with people. So I told you to invite people from your school, invite other people. If you're a school owner, share with other members of your school. Because by the time you get confused, you can easily run to someone else that is your friend or your colleague and ask them questions. And just like they said, it is fun when you do it with some of your colleagues. All right, so it is not too late to invite some people that you know that would like to be a part of this. And this is the 3 parts of the nomination form. The first part is about you. So this is simply so that we know who you are. If you use the tools or devices, and if you're a member of other communities from other tech companies, we are happy to have you in your community. So some of you might be Google certified or any other certifications. It's not going to be a challenge, and it's not going to be a way for them to disqualify you. All right, so, and like they said it does not impact your nomination in any way. For those who joined yesterday, you remember that I said that they will ask you for your social media profile, although the site does not impact your nomination in any way. Then the second phase is now where you have scored questions. Now, these scored questions are on using Microsoft education tools, and they'll be scored automatically. That's why I mentioned yesterday that we need to still learn about the different Microsoft tools, because they will form most of the questions that we're going to be asked during the application process. Now, note, if you do not pass this section, you will be notified via email. At that time, you will need to do what? Now create a new nomination to be restored. Then the third part is the long form questions. Now, these ones will be reviewed by a local Microsoft team in your country. So the first 2 parts are automatically scored. If you do well in those first 2 parts, the long form questions will now be reviewed by the your local Microsoft team in your country. And they will now check your final submission, and then they will decide whether or not you qualify to be part of the community. Okay, so these questions will be reviewed and is the most important section. So we suggest that you have a colleague review your responses. You may respond in native language. You must respond with more than 500 character responses. I'm sure this is where most of the work is, because I remember when I was doing my last year as well. You may respond in your native language. Make sure that is more than 500 characters, not words, characters. So A, B, C, A is a character, B is a character, like that. And less than 2,500 characters. We want detailed responses that fully answer the questions. Below the questions on this document, you will see the links to MEC courses, that is MEC courses, that can help you prepare if you're not familiar with the tools. Remember that earlier on we said that for you to qualify, you must be familiar with some Microsoft tools, especially one forms and then other, right? So they are going to ask you questions about this. Now, if you're not familiar with them, at the bottom of this particular document, which you will see very soon, you will see links to Microsoft Learn, where you can read about those courses. So it is really just you studying about them, knowing them, then practicing them. Then you keep evidences of how to practice them while you're using it to teach, because they will require you to submit those evidences. So it can be a screenshot, it can be a video recording or anything. You will need them to complete your application. So this is the first phase, the about you phase. They'll require your first name, your last name, your personal email, your school or organization email. So like I said, if it's not a school you're working for or working in, you put the name of the organization there, you put your home address, your school, institution, organization address, their website, you put your title. So wherever it is that you're working, what's your title there? Class teacher, head of department, school owner, proprietor, whatever it is, you put it there. Now, your current role, please pay attention to this part because this is exactly what you need to fill and submit that will determine whether or not you qualify. So the first says current role at the school or organization. Check all that apply. So if you into more than one of it, make sure you teach as many as possible that applies to you. But I'm directly responsible for the teaching of K-12 students. That means that you're teaching people from I think primary to secondary. I think infant school is included. I'm not quite sure. I mean nursery school. So you're teaching children from that age up until I'm trying to use I'm trying to use a term that everyone will be familiar with because K-12 is related to the British curriculum. We are teaching children up to the secondary school level. I'm responsible for, or I teach STEM at my school. If you are not responsible for that, or you don't need to seek it. I'm involved in curriculum development. If you are, you seek that. If you're not, you leave it. I'm an education trainer, professional development specialist. If you are, you seek. I'm a school leader. Does not really apply to, it does not determine whether one will be chosen or not. So you read through all of these and choose as many as possible applies to your person. Then the next part says that, is your school a showcase school? Now, because most of us here, in fact, everyone here are not yet MIEE experts. And if everyone in your school also has not been an MIEE expert, or if you have just one or two, a few, there's every possibility that your school is not yet a Microsoft Showcase school. If you are not sure, there is a link that showcases the list of all Microsoft Showcase schools. But like I said before, for your school to be a Microsoft Showcase school, you must have a number of Microsoft Innovative Educators and Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert. And there are some other criteria that your school must have fulfilled to become that. So, and then if your school is not a showcase school, it also does not hinder or your application in any way. So you set whichever one it is, if you are and if you are not. Okay, so it has even written here that if you are a showcase school, you will see a drop down of the list. All right, so obviously if the name of the school is not there, then it means that your school is not a showcase school. So you will select the age range of all children that you teach. For example, if you happen to teach children in different age groups, you select all the age groups that you teach. Then you see this part that says, I'm responsible for delivering professional development to teachers. If you do that, you tick it. If you don't, you leave it. What subjects do you teach? Tick all that apply. All right, every subject that you teach that is there. If your subject is not stated, just click order. Now, do your students or learners have access to internet at school? Do your students or learners have access to internet at school? You answer if they do or not. Do your students or learners have access to internet at home? You also answer that. What technology do your students or learners primarily use for learning? So you select the one that applies. Now share the URL to your social handles if you have them. This is what I was talking about yesterday. So every of your social handle, if the ones you don't have, you leave it. And remember they said if you have them, so you might not want to, but I'll advise that you just put it because I believe that there's a reason why they ask for them. How many followers do you have on Twitter? You put that as well. What tools or evidences? Okay, so someone is saying they can't hear me well. Can you hear me well? Can anyone hear me, please?
Yes,
Yes,
we
yes, yes.
Yes,
can.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to share the link.
But
I'm going to
I
share
can't see your screen.
You can see my screen.
No.
Can't hear you.
I'm saying it because I have another device that I'm connected with here, and I'm saying, okay, let me just stop the sharing and reshare.
I think we can see your screen. You can see your screen.
Because I can also see it from my mirror.
Can see your
object.
screen.
Just that I think
the screen is not showing. The screen is not showing. Probably when you reshare, it's going to show. It's not showing.
Yes.
Talking and
I stopped sharing so that I can reshare. Can you see it now?
It's coming up.
Please let me know when it's up. I'm going to reshare again. Now it's taking time to come up. Okay, so while we are waiting, let me share the link in the WhatsApp group so that we can also start checking from our end. So that's the link to the website where you will see the Word documents that you can download. I've shared the link in the WhatsApp group. Oh, great, thank you. Screen is up now. Okay, so what tools or devices do you use regularly? You check all that apply. Do you use Google Labs? Do you use Chromebooks, iPad, MacBooks, Windows devices? Anyone you know that you make use of? Just click on it. Then what tools or devices does your school or organization use? Check all that apply. The same thing, any tools or organization that you use in your school, you tick them. What other EdTech communities are you connected to? So these are different EdTech communities. Adobe Creative Educator, Apple Distinguished Educator, Bounce Ambassadors, Flipgrid Student Voice Ambassadors, Genially, Google Certified Coach, Google Certified Innovator, Google Certified Trainers, HP Fellows, and so on. So if there's any other one that you belong to, just click on it. Wakeless Ambassador, Minecraft Global Mentor, click as many as apply. Now this partner says, have you taken any coursework or earned any badges and trophies on Microsoft Learn? That was why we had to do the pre-webinar so that you'll be able to answer yes. For those who have not treated it before, everyone confidently answer yes. If you're yet to treat it, maybe you joined after we had the session. I said before that the recording in the group, so you can just go back there, follow the guides, and get your certifications. Very valid. All right. Now they say if yes, share the Microsoft Learn. If you remember from yesterday, I said that the avatar, that place where your profile picture is supposed to show, when you click on it and click profile, you will see a place where you can share. So that is to share your profile. It's going to generate a link for you. So that anybody that clicks on that link, it will direct them to your profile. And the reason is that they have to confirm that you are truly a Microsoft educator and that you have taken courses on Microsoft Learn and you've earned badges and trophies. Okay, so if you check your profile now and you don't have both badges and trophies, it means that you have to take more courses so that you can have badges and trophies. Okay, now this is the machine learning scored questions. Machine, that is the automatically scored questions. Note, if you do not pass this section, you will be notified via email. At that time, you will need to cancel your nomination and create a new nomination to be rescored. So you see that it is not all that strict. if you don't pass the first time, they will let you know that okay, you have not done well at this stage. Then they will give you another opportunity to resubmit. So you have to cancel the first submission and resubmit another one. So it's not like you do it once and then you failed. So now the question here is, how many modules on the Learn Educator Center have you completed? How many have you completed? So for example, yesterday we did 2. Today now, I'm going to share another achievement code for 1 more. All right, so that's 3. You can work towards achieving far more, even doing up to 26 or more. All right, depends if you have the time. So you will identify how many that you've done. Then these questions are want to know how often you make use of Microsoft tools. Do you use them daily? Do you use them weekly? Do you use them monthly? Or you rarely use them, or you've never used them? You have to state for each one. How often do you use Microsoft Teams in an instructional environment? So what you should do now is to take note of all these Microsoft tools that they are talking about. So when you want to go back to learn, you know the courses that you should take, courses that are related to these things, so that you know about the July 7th, you would have been familiar with them, make use of them when you're teaching and learning, so that you can have enough evidences and artifacts to share when you're submitting your application. So another one is Microsoft Forms. Do you use Microsoft Forms in an instructional environment? Do you use OneNote for personal organization? Do you use OneNote and or staff notebooks? Do you use Flipgrid with learners? Do you use Minecraft education? Some of you might be hearing all of this for the first time. It's okay. But then you need to go now and study them so that you're familiar with them. Do you share your teaching and learning knowledge with other colleagues? If you do, how regularly do you do it? Do you do it daily? Do you do, or how frequently do you do it rather? Do you do it monthly, rarely, or never? You state it there. Now, how often do you use the following Microsoft Imagine Academy? These resources are meant for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. If you don't know them, or you're not familiar with them, you state it there that you've never used it. If you've used it, but maybe very rarely, you let them know. How often do you use the following features of PowerPoint for teaching and learning? And some people might not even know that PowerPoint is able to do all this. If you have Office 365, you are able to do all of this using PowerPoint. So how often do you do live presentations with PowerPoint? How often do you record slideshow using the slideshow tab? How often do you save a PowerPoint as a video using Save As? Some people don't even know that when you create PowerPoint slides, you are able to convert it to a video. So all you need to do is go to File, click on Save As. The other part, under part where you have the PPTs or PowerPoint, you click on that arrow and you change it to video. It converts it automatically to a video. How often do you rehearse with Coach? That's also a feature in PowerPoint. How often do you use subtitles when you are presenting a slideshow? How often do you embed forms? Now, for you to be able to make use of most of these tools in Microsoft PowerPoint, you need to be using Microsoft Office 365. And it's usually a paid package. So, and I know that most times most of us here are using the free version. So if you have the free version, you might not be able to make use of all of this. So you're going to state there how often you use each of these features of Microsoft PowerPoint. Then it moves to Microsoft Edge browser. The time I learned about this Edge browser, I like the features. The feature, especially because it's useful for special needs children, special education needs children. It has a lot of features that makes reading and writing easy for them. For a child that does not know how to read, the immersive reader, through it, it can be reading out the words on the screen for the child. Or the reader there's like a dictionary. So when you click on the word, it generates the meaning of that word for the child. So that's one of the advantages of using Microsoft Edge browser. If you've not used it before, if you are very familiar with Google, you might want to explore Microsoft Edge browser as well. For everyone that is using a Windows laptop, you definitely see Microsoft Edge browser in your device. Okay, so how often do you use immersive reader? These are the features of Microsoft Edge browser. How often do you use reader? So you should be familiar with what extensions are. Translation, inking on PDF, generating QR codes, collections, web capture. So you're going to state how often you use these features of the Microsoft Edge tool. Remember that, again, one of the criteria for you to qualify is to be familiar with these Microsoft tools. And of course, it is a Microsoft certification. It's a Microsoft certification, so it's expected that you are familiar with the tools. So how many Flipgrid live events have you joined or helped a teacher join in the past 6 months? You state that. How many grid PAL connections have you completed or helped a teacher complete in the past 6 months? Now, if you have not done any of that before, then you want to assist your, or if you are not familiar with any of these tools, you want to go and read about them so that you know it, and then you are able to help other people to use them as well. Okay, so it now begins to ask you questions about particular features to be sure that you know about those features. And that is why you can't guess. If you don't know it, you don't know it. You have to go back and read about these things. So this one now is asking you, through the immersive reader and learning tool, students can what? Check all that apply. It gives you a list of options of what is possible, what you can do with immersive reader. Can they listen to text being read aloud as the words are highlighted? Remember that I said that is a very great tool, especially for children that are struggling with reading, children that have dyslexia, or children that just don't like reading at all. So it's very efficient for them. If they don't know how to read, if they find it difficult in reading and all of that, or writing, these tools are very useful in are very useful tools to help them. Does it use a built-in dictionary for real-time vocabulary support? You know, I've mentioned this before. Does it translate text into over 60 languages? So you read them, you tick all of the things that you can use this immersive reader to do. Then you have accessibility checker in tools like PowerPoint, Word, Excel, OneNote, Outlook, etc. All right. So it's telling you that all of these should be used to, what are they used for? You tick the correct answer. Another question is, in a hybrid classroom, does anyone know what a hybrid classroom is? Can someone please tell us what an hybrid classroom is? You can either unmute your mic or just type in the chat. Who knows what a hybrid classroom is?
In a hybrid classroom, some people will be online while some people will be live in the classroom. So as you're attending to people online, you're also attending to people live.
In a hybrid classroom, you are teaching the same class, but some of your students are online, while some of them are with you physically. You are teaching both online and offline students at the same time. So it's asking that in a hybrid classroom, Teams is used for what? What can you use Teams for? It means that if you're not familiar with Microsoft Teams, you've not heard about it before, or you've heard about it, but you don't know what you can use Teams to do in a hybrid classroom, you need to go back to Microsoft Learn and then do a course on Microsoft Teams. So that course on Microsoft Teams, so that you know all the things that you can use Teams to do in a hybrid classroom. Now, formative assessment measures student learning and is typically done when? We know what formative assessment is. There's formative assessment, there's summative assessment. What's the difference between formative and summative assessment?
I think the formative assessment is done at the beginning of the class, while the summative is done at the end.
Fantastic, thank you so much. So summative is done at the end. Formative is during the lesson, as the lesson is going on. It's not only at the beginning. You're doing it at intervals during the lesson. At intervals to be sure that the children are following and they understand what you are teaching. So it's now asking now that for formative assessment measures student learning and it's typically done when, all right? So it's done during the lesson. It's not just at the beginning of the lesson. You do it at intervals. during your lesson. Now, when you create a quiz or a poll in Microsoft Forms, what question types do you have available? Is it only choice questions? Is it only ranking questions? Is it only text question? Is it only rating? Or like, is it all of them you would take as it is? So it means that if you don't know how to use Microsoft Forms, or you are using it but you've not sampled to answer this question correctly. Now, when using OneNote, students can create their own practice math assessment with forms that will show them if they got the correct answer. You answer if that is true or false. What types of teams are available with Microsoft Teams in education? There are class teams, staff teams, professional learning community, because you know, Microsoft Teams is not just for schools. There's Microsoft Teams for schools, there's Microsoft Teams for other professional organizations as well. So they're now asking that for the particular one that is in education, Microsoft Teams for education, which of those teams are available? Which of these teams can you create? So it means that if you don't know about it, you need to go and study about Microsoft Teams on the Microsoft Learn Center, Microsoft Learn Education Center. This one says, what is the correct order for how to create breakout rooms in Microsoft Teams? You can also find the answer to this when you do a course on Microsoft Teams. Then these are the, remember that this part, this phase 2, the first phase is the about you phase, and they said that one does not really have any impact on the nomination. The second phase now is the one that is automatically generated. That's the one that questions you about the frequency of how you use the Microsoft tools, and then questions you about the different Microsoft tools, so that you know about those things, especially Teams, OneNote, and which other one? They ask about Flipgrid, GridPal, so you need to learn about them. Now, this part is the most important part. If you pass the first part and the second part, which is automat, then they will pass on your application to the local Microsoft. They are the ones that will mark this one. So it's not machine generated, it's a person that will go through it, because you know you've written it by yourself, handwritten or typed, and then they have to read through it and say that yes, this person is really using this tool, practicing everything that they have learned. Okay, so these are hand-reviewed by Microsoft Teams in your country and or region to ensure that you are truly an innovative educator expert and that you have demonstrated your innovation thoroughly. There is a 500 character count minimum required on these responses, not including spaces. So they are not counting spaces, just the characters. So you're expected to be succinct. All right, you're expected to be succinct. But also be prepared to Okay, can you still hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
I think the internet logged me out on the other device.
Yes, fine.
Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay, thank you. You can hear me. All right, thank you. All right, so I need to mute this one. Okay, now the first question here says, describe, so you need to be succinct, but make sure that the answers you are giving are very thoughtful answers and they capture the things that they want you to answer in each question. So let's take, for example, the first question. It says, describe how you leverage Microsoft tools to increase accessibility for all learners in your classroom. What tools do you use and how do they support different learning needs? 500 character minimum.
You can write up to 2,000 character maximum, but a minimum.
So what are you expected to do? They said, how do you leverage Microsoft tools to increase accessibility for all learners? If they are talking about accessibility for all learners, they are talking about inclusion. So how do you make sure that every child in your class is able to learn, no matter the topic that you are teaching? And what Microsoft tool do you use to ensure that every child is able to learn? For example, I talked about Microsoft Edge and the tools that are there, like immersive reader, like the read aloud feature. There are still many other tools that you can use. Flipgrid is one of them, GridPal. So you need to go and study all of those things. Look at how you can use them, okay, to help children learn, to include learners that are not that strong in learning, that to help children that have challenge with learning. What Microsoft tools do you use and how do you use it to increase accessibility for all learners? So they're talking about inclusion and the Microsoft tool that you're familiar with that you use. So you have to give examples. And it is not, so one thing that you might make mistake of, you might just start writing. So some of you might say, okay, because I already know this, let me just think of a way and then write something. It will get to a point where they will ask for facts and evidence. Now, if you've written all of those things and you don't have evidence to back them up, then it will be obvious that you were just telling a lie. So that is why, even after you've read about them and you've known them, you need to practice and make sure that you have those evidences, because you will need to submit the evidences for them to really be sure that, yes, you practice this thing. Number 2 says, tell us about a series of lessons, a unit, or a project that you did with learners that incorporates Microsoft technology for improved learning outcomes. What 21 CLD skills? I said it yesterday when we talked about the 21 CLD, that is going to be a major part of the question for our self-nomination. So you can see that I'm right about that. So what 21 CLD skills were included in the learning and explain? Remember the 21 CLD skills: collaboration, self-regulation, use of ICT for learning, skilled communication, and all of that. So which one of them did you include in that learning, in the project that they're asking you to describe? And which Microsoft technology did you include? Which 21 CLD did you include? And they said what? Explain in detail how those skills were developed. Explain in details how those skills were developed. So you need to refer back to those rubrics that I talked about yesterday. You might have to just go back and then check that 21 CLD course all over again. Be sure to specifically call out the 21 CLD skill or skills that we addressed and what rubric score that it is, for them to be sure that, yes, this person really knows what he's saying. So it's not just enough to talk and say, I use this party, I use skilled collaboration, skilled communication. What stage, what number of the skilled communication rubric does that activity that you did, what part of it does it eat? You have to mention it. Now it's giving you an hint here. It says use the OneNote in the online course to help you with the rubrics and skills. So in case you've forgotten the rubrics and the skills, if you click on this link, it's going to take you back to the rubrics and the skills. So even when you are filling the form, you will see the hint there. You can always go back and check the rubric, so it guides you when you are answering your questions. Okay, so it says you read through the 6 skills, big ideas to understand them and apply them to your response. Now, number 3, provide a link to an example of a learning artifact. This is the part where you need to, submit your evidences. So it says an artifact is a tangible result of the student's learning. How did they demonstrate what they learned? From a projects, lesson, units your learners completed using Microsoft tools. Emphasis, using Microsoft tools, not using Google tools, not using any tool from anywhere. Microsoft tools. So you must make sure that the tools that you are providing as your evidences are Microsoft tools. You will have to put the artifact somewhere where you can share with a URL. A URL is a link. Okay, so you share a link. It is that link that you put here, the place where they wrote URL. So when they click on that link, it's going to show all of the evidences that you have. This could be a sway of a portfolio. A sway is also a Microsoft tool. If you've not heard about it before, you can go and read about it. Okay, so a sway is just something that you can use to create like a small blog with pictures and notes under it and all of that. If you train teachers, maybe it is a lesson plan they put together after one of your trainings. If you teach students, it could be a video, it could be a PowerPoint or a Word document, it could be a sway that the children created, it could be maybe something they did on Flipgrid, anything at all. But make sure that it was done with Microsoft tools. Now you could even use screenshots, like I said earlier. You could use screenshots to show that what your learners did. But please, you need to be mindful of child protection, all right? So you don't have to show their names, or if their names are showing, you can block out their names from it, okay? So that you need to be very mindful of the learners' names, faces, or identifiable information out of what you share. So you put your link here. Okay, so let me just advise, when you are sharing your link, an easy way, let me teach you an easy way to share your link. So an easy way to share your link is to save it on OneDrive. Please do not use Google Drive, because you're applying for a Microsoft certification. So it will not, if they are asking you things about Microsoft, it would not speak well for you to now go and upload on Google Drive and be sharing a Google Drive link. Because it also shows that you probably don't know how to use OneDrive, or you don't know how to use their tools. So best thing is for you to sign into OneDrive. OneDrive is just like Google Drive, but the only thing is that OneDrive is owned by Microsoft. So you upload all of those pictures, slides, whatever it is, sway that you've worked with your learners, and then you generate the link just like you generate link to your Google Drive files. So it is that link that you will put here where you have the URL. Number 4, describe what the artifacts that is the result of student learning. That artifact that you shared before, you will not describe what the artifact is to which you shared. Okay, so the artifact that you shared before, you will not tell us about it. What is that artifact about? Okay, how does it demonstrate the desired learning objective? So you are not just posting any random artifact. By the time you finish sharing it, that's why you need to look at it first. So if you make a mistake of not going through all of this first, and you just generate every different artifact and share, you will not get to this point where they're asking you to describe. And at that point, if you don't have anyone that you can confidently describe, you have to start removing some things from what you put there before. So be mindful and be very careful when you are uploading your artifact. Make sure that it's something that you can explain, that you can tell us how maybe you use one of the 21st century learning designs, you'll be able to implement it and all of that. Make sure that it's something that you can tell a story about. Not just put random artifacts that you're not able to explain how you've been able to use the Microsoft technology, or use one of the 21 CLD rubrics, or help accessibility in your learners and all of that. So be very, very mindful and careful when you are picking the artifacts that you want to submit. So you explain how we demonstrated the desired learning objective and how Microsoft tools were a critical part of that learning. So it's quite a process, but then it's worth it at the end of the day. Then this part says, share 2 examples of how you have supported both your own learning and the learning and growth of your colleagues. Describe the activities that you completed and led, and how it resulted in helping teaching and learning. That's also a minimum of 500 characters and a maximum of 2,000 characters. Now, if you have not done all of this before now, everything, that's the end of the questions. If you have not done any of this now, you looked at it now, you feel that you might not be qualified right now. So you have between now and July 7th. I would say you should use between now and month end, that is the ending of June, to study some of these tools, to know them very well. And then to now begin to practice them so that you can begin to gather those facts. And you can also begin to structure the questions. The good thing is that you already have the questions that you need to answer. So start writing them down, start saving them on your laptop, so that at the time when you want to fill your form, your self-nomination, you can just copy and paste, copy and paste. It's easier that way than when you just see the form and then you're filling from your head. You might not answer it to the best of your ability. So and then at the end of the document, you're going to see resources and courses to help you prepare for your nomination. So they are that journey for you. I told you where to start, the Microsoft Learn Education Center, and all of the resources. You see, these are the different tools that you can learn about: Flipgrid, Teams, Minecraft Education Edition, Microsoft Edge 21 CLD, Make Code, and all of that. So they've made it very, very easy. All right, so now I will allow for questions before we go out. I planned for 1 hour, but for some reason, okay, we've used exactly 1 hour, but I think we can use the remaining, we can use the next 10 minutes to answer questions. So if you have any question, you can please unmute and ask. Or you can type it in the question if you don't want, in the comments rather, if you don't want to unmute. We have questions. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I've not been sharing my screen. Oh no. Someone would have muted and told me. Someone would have unmuted and told me. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so do we have any questions? Please let us ask questions now that there is time. It's not when we go back to the group, we'll not be asking questions. The questions might not come in from. Okay, none. Thank you. Well explained. Thank you so much, Ms. Sifi. Okay, so it means that there are no questions. It means that everyone can now confidently go ahead and self-nominate themselves.
I wanted to ask a question, please, if it's not late.
You have a question.
Yes, it seems that this is most applicable to teachers who teach, the upper grades. So if someone teaches the preschoolers, those who teach the upper grade children, so it means
like
that
how?
Like the primary 1 to GS3. So it means that if you are teaching, I'm a school administrator.
Okay. So like I said earlier on at the beginning, I said it's for people that teach from primary up until even higher institution people. You can use it. If you teach children above 18 years, you can use it. So you will notice there was a place where they asked, click all age group of children that you teach. You will see from 0 to 5 years. There. Let me scroll back to that page where it says click all the categories of learners that you teach. Can you see it? From 0 to 5 years old.
Okay.
So it's for all educators that teach all range of children. It's not just for a particular set of educators.
Why I ask that question is for the primary or nursery people, for instance. You may not really. I don't know if it is possible for you to use Microsoft Word to carry out some project that those students can participate in. Since this is required. Yes. Like okay. Okay.
It's possible, very possible, because for instance, myself, I teach a primary school and I use these tools. And that's what I used for my self-nomination last year. So it's very possible.
Okay.
Now, they might not be practicing it in your school. Remember that one of the criteria that they're looking for change agents, they're looking for innovative people. So you keep the change in that school and start using it. And then you now have the opportunity to now explain how you even led the change and now started using that thing. I started using it in your school. You even taught the teachers in your school because they were not familiar with it. Remember that at the end, they asked, is there any way you helped your colleagues? So if you even lead that change and you're the one that brought it up, it's even a plus for you.
I'm coming.
I'm looking forward to. I hope.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question too.
Okay.
All right. So now, is it okay if you do, maybe you, Coach Veekey, and maybe your team, do you go to school, from school to school, as in to tell teachers that actually could come from me now, but you know, since I'm not an expert in all the Microsoft tools and all that, would you want to come around to the school where I teach or any other person to like talk to staff, maybe once, maybe in their seminar or so?
Yes,
then
I
you
do
come
that for
around
schools
and
that
you do
invite me
that.
to do so
Wonderful.
for them.
Okay.
I do
All
that for
right.
schools that invite me to do so for them.
Okay.
Sorry, I
Okay.
didn't get that clearly. Can you repeat?
Yeah, I said that, as in, do you go
I didn't
to
get the
school?
last thing you said.
I said, no, I said it's okay, it's wonderful. Since you said you do that a lot, you go around, you go to school to tell teachers, as in the seminar. If we have a seminar now, you can be invited to talk about it to our staff. That is what I'm asking. And you said you do that. Okay, okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay.
So if you require me to come to your school and talk to your educators or train them about it, just send me a message, a private message, and then we'll discuss about it.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Are we good to go? Okay. So please hold on. Remember that I'm going to share an achievement certificate and make it easier for you to get enough trophies. By the time you're being asked to put an I number, so
Please, you are muted, so you have to unmute.
Guys, oh my goodness, I've been talking to myself. Okay, I was saying that if you've not been followed, that from time to time, I'm going to be sharing some webinars on professional development. Okay, so I'd like us to remain in the group. I'd like us to remain in the group so that we can help each other, especially for this certification. If you have answers to questions and top questions, if you've probably gone ahead or you've gone past that stage and you can assist another person with it, please answer the questions on the group. Then when I have time as well, I'm going to answer the questions. I also said that I'll be sharing some professional development courses from time to time when I am chanced. It might be recorded and it might be a live session like this, but because of internet issues, I might most times do recorded sessions and upload on the YouTube channel like I did yesterday. So please like and subscribe on that YouTube channel if you have not done so already. You can also find us on Facebook and on Instagram as @theteacher.com/Millionaire. So please follow us on those pages so that you can be updated. If I don't have your number already, please send me a private message on WhatsApp now, because most times I get a lot of messages with numbers, and if I'm supposed to forward that information to you, it might not be easy for me to locate who that person is because there are a lot of numbers that are on it. But if I've saved your number, it's easy for me to locate and then pass on whatever information it is I want to pass on to you. So also, by the time we leave this chat, I'm going to share a list of tasks. I said yesterday that for everyone that's generated a certificate or gotten some form of value from this training, that I would like you to share the value that you've gotten or the certificate. You can share it on your social media profiles, and please tag, you can tag me as Victoria Ogunlade Ajishe, that's my name on Facebook, or tag @theteacher.com/Millionaire. So please acknowledge that we were a part of this success that you just got. And please share our trainings with others as well. Now for this MIEE certification, because it is still open up until July 7th, you can still invite as many people as possible to register for it. The link is in the group as well. So they can always go back to watch the recording. All right, so they can watch the recording and then be a part of this. So if you have a school owner or a school leader, you can tell teachers in your school about it. Or if you have colleagues that you want them to be a part of it, please talk to them about it also so that they can partake from it. Even if they don't qualify to be MIEs, at least they will be Microsoft Innovative Educators. But my desire is that everyone here will be a Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert at the end of the process, where the winners are going to be, or the experts are going to be announced. So please look forward to the tasks that I will be sharing soon. For everyone that does the task, I have a special gift for them. All right, so that will be the end of our session today. I hope you've gotten value. I hope that I didn't waste your time with it. So thank you so much for joining. It's such a pleasure sharing with you, and I'm glad that you were here with me. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Is there anyone that wants to say something before we go? Oh, thank you so much. Mr. Dijala says, I learned a lot. God bless. Thank you so much, ma'am. All right. Thank you so much. Bye. We'll see you in the WhatsApp group. You can unmute your mic and say bye. At least let me hear
Bye.
voice. Yeah, bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Educators.
I love you. Thanks for making this happen. I wish everyone success in their application. Bye-bye. Look forward to the tasks I'm going to be sharing.